Be aware that the Intelligence and Security Committee yesterday published their annual report, which highlights the inadequacies of the government's approach towards China. And in particular, the report says that given the extent of the threat posed by China, and particularly that of its interference operations, they're concerned to see the government dragging its heels on whether to add China to the enhanced tier of FIRS, so the Foreign Influence Registration Scheme. Given that China poses the biggest threat to the UK through transnational repression, cyber attacks and malign activities, why are they not on the enhanced tier of FIRS alongside Russia and Iran?
So each country is considered separately and differently because countries obviously have very different circumstances and very different kinds of threats or challenges or opportunities in some cases as well. So it's right that each country should be considered separately.
I'd like to ask you about the plans for the new Chinese embassy. As you know, the China super embassy planning application is causing a lot of concern for many people in the UK who oppose the regime and for others. The current proposal will see the embassy built in a prime strategic location in central London, next to the Tower of London, on the site of the Royal Mint, becoming the People's Republic of China's largest embassy in Europe and built in close proximity to critical communication cables servicing the City of London's financial district. Are you concerned about what message this sends our international allies, particularly the United States, who are concerned about the security threats that China poses?
National security is the first duty of any government, and so we clearly take any security issues immensely seriously. Obviously, it's part of the diplomatic processes that countries have embassies, and we have embassies all over the world. Countries build new embassies, close old embassies, and so on. So that is not a novel process. You will understand, obviously, there is an independent planning process that is underway, and it would be wrong for me to cut across an independent planning process.
And on the 3rd of November, members of the House of Representatives in the USA wrote to you to express their concerns with the super embassy application. They said, as one of our closest allies with whom we share a special relationship, we're writing to raise concerns about the People's Republic of China's egregious attempt to construct a super embassy on the site of the Royal Mint Court, a strategic location in central London. We write to urge the denial of the proposed construction and encourage full consideration of the ramifications of allowing such a development to proceed unchecked. So I just wonder what your response is to their letter and whether, in light of their concerns, you've reviewed your position on the embassy.
So what I can say is, in terms of our discussions, both our aid between our agencies and the US agencies, and also between the government, in terms of the UK government and the US government, we have extensive discussions about all of these issues, including about security issues, including about embassy issues, not just in the UK, but all over the world as well. So we have a lot of close briefing, information sharing and collaboration on all of those issues.
Your predecessor agreed to come before the committee and talk us through the China audit once it was published. However, since then, the committee has not received any update. And of course, your predecessor did make a brief statement in the House to explain why it would not be published, saying instead that small elements would be incorporated into the national security strategy. And we're told that much of the audit is classified. Would you agree that the British public needs to know the contents of the audit if it's to be able to work within the guidelines contained in it?
So I think that there are some issues which are security related. Look, given that we have recognised some of the national security threats that China poses, you would not expect us to publish details around that. And I don't think any of the Five Eyes partners have published an overarching China strategy in that way.
Just to note, though, that I was of the understanding that a number of UK allies and partners, including the Netherlands, Sweden, Switzerland, Finland and Germany, have all published explicit national China strategies.
Yes, I think some European countries have, but not Five Eyes countries.
What I'm trying to understand is if the majority of the audit is classified at a level beyond what most people working in the civil service could see indeed so classified that up to this point, even the committee hasn't been allowed to see it. Not just that the committee can't see the audit, but actually probably most people working in the civil service, you can tell me if I'm wrong, don't have the security clearance necessary to see the audit. And therefore, if there are things that need to be implemented and departments that need to be working together, just like to understand how you see that happening.
So I think the audit was really a process to drive the approach that the government takes, and also fed into the national security strategy, which is public. It fed into a series of other approaches that are public, whether that be around our trading approaches, whether that be around our national security strategy, and so on. So it has fed into the broader public process.